line. The dog days of summer are officially here.
Okay, so it's official. It's August, so now we can say it.
Absolutely.
I said it a couple of weeks ago, and you were like, no, not
yet. A little
yet.
premature.
A little premature. Well,
Yep.
That's me.
It is the dog. Well, I don't want to hear about that because it's a sad story. But
right,
but the dog days of summer has started.
Yeah.
Boy, busy trade deadline.
Yeah, it was
yesterday.
But Jim, there was a lot of
a lot of big names.
Really, you think?
Yeah.
That's what I don't know if there was really. Of course, Verlander,
two Hall of Famers. I think that's
Scherzer
big.
moved right a couple of days beforehand, and then the biggest name to me was Verlander, obviously going back to Houston, but a lot of not superstar caliber people on the move.
No, and there weren't a lot of superstar caliber people on the market either. Remember,
Right.
the only team that we thought might do that were the Cardinals.
And the Mets.
And the Mets, but the Mets did their share.
Did that. Right.
But the Cardinals did not do anything with their stars. And that was really about, no other team really, did you hear much about the big names going.
Right.
So I think two Hall of Fame pitchers going is certainly noteworthy. And of course, the fact that they're both Detroit Tiger based, their history, so that makes it so.
And you hit the nail right on the head. What was the major movement? Pitching. Pitching and relief pitching.
Yeah, pitching.
I mean, this is what it comes down to in the playoffs. As much as we talk about the offense and how it has exploded over the last decade or so in baseball, it really comes down to pitching and relief pitching and quality of depth in pitching to win championships, in my view.
I would say, and I agree, I would say we saw several great to good starters traded and several great to good relief pitchers traded. Several top closer type.
Sure.
So it wasn't just the back end of the rotation, the back end of the bullpen. Now, on the everyday side, all we saw really were role players. We didn't see one everyday player.
Right.
You could make the argument maybe that Jeimer Candelario is an everyday player. He went from the Nationals back to the Cubs. But other than that, there weren't too many.
I was going to say, can you name me the best hitter out of that group that got traded?
Well,
is Candelario?
I was going to say, you're going to back me in a corner here.
Right.
Because I hate that. But yeah,
it's true.
He's as good as anyone that was traded. Yeah. Tommy Pham is another one that was one of the names that you saw traded who might be considered an everyday / role player. But no, it was definitely focused on pitching, relief pitching, starting pitching. And in some cases, the rich got richer.
And that's usually the case,
right? It certainly is. Yep,
it's usually the case in trade deadline.
And I would say what I'm going to talk about, too, when we talk about this more a little later on in the show, a little more in depth, is that the people that didn't make any moves. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't make any moves.
We'll talk about that a little later. We got a jam-packed show today, but we'll definitely get into it later in the show for sure, the specifics.
Locally, the news, of course, is Michael Lorenz, and he was traded to a very familiar trading partner, the Philadelphia Phillies, and we'll talk about the young man they got for him. But he's the only, and of course, the non-trade, the trade that didn't happen,
the trade that was supposed to, but didn't.
I want to know who was on the line. Who were the Tigers ready to take for Eduardo Rodriguez from the Dodgers?
What was the deal, right? That's the big question. That's
we'll never know that.
We'll never know that.
I promise you we'll never know that.
Yeah, right.
But all right, we'll talk more about that coming up. But right now, the Detroit Tigers, again, they hold now 5-2. They added a run in here in the bottom of the sixth inning in Pittsburgh. And, of course, the week that was, Rob, since the last time we talked, has not been a great week. 1-4 record since the 27th. They lost to the Angels. They lost 2 out of 3. Down in Miami. And then, of course, they lost the opener yesterday in Pittsburgh. So it's not been a great week for the Tigers. But, again, Eduardo Rodriguez always is a bright spot, and he's throwing another gem in Pittsburgh. And I tell you, Rob, I'm watching the game, of course, on the screen in front of me. That Pittsburgh Stadium, if I had to pick my 2 favorite ballparks in the whole major leagues, I'd pick Pittsburgh and San Francisco.
San Francisco.
This is one of my 2 favorite settings.
I've heard from other people that go from baseball stadium to baseball stadium. Man, I'd love to do that. It's
great. It's great.
But I have heard great things about the Pittsburgh Stadium. I've never been, but
the setting, it's the skyline, and you see it from the home plate shot. It's sort of a Comerica Park-ish setting with the downtown skyline.
Yeah.
But in a way, I'm going to disqualify Comerica Park because I see it so much, right? Other than Comerica Park, I think this is as nice a setting. Of course, in San Francisco, you get the water. right on the bay.
Of course,
so
right on the bay.
But those two are 1 and 1A in my book.
You know what I'd really like to go to that I haven't been able to? There's two. There's Camden Yards.
Okay.
Baltimore.
Yep.
Baltimore.
Yep.
And then obviously St. Louis, whatever they call Busch Stadium.
Still Busch Stadium.
Busch Stadium?
Busch Stadium. Yep,
I mean, the atmosphere there. I don't know. Have you ever been to either one of those?
I've been to both.
Have you? Okay.
Busch Stadium is kind of cool because they built the old Busch Stadium or the new Busch Stadium over the old Busch Stadium's footprint.
Yeah.
And they actually have the foul lines laid out in this, so you know exactly where the old stadium was. And Busch Stadium is a classic. And of course,
just the atmosphere there.
Camden Yards was the first of the ballparks. Now it's almost 30 years ago. Now they used an old building as part of the construction.
Yep.
The old train building was part of, and that was new then. And no one was doing that.
No one's doing that.
And now it's commonplace, obviously.
Yeah.
But they were one of the really cutting edge back in the mid '90s, and it stood the test of time. It's still a really good ballpark.
Yes.
And it's right in downtown Baltimore. I've been there several times. It's a great setting. So either one of those,
they're on my bucket list for baseball stadiums.
I'll put those two, and then you got to see Pittsburgh.
Apparently Pittsburgh. Let's hope they put a good team on the
field. You know another good ballpark, Cleveland. Nice ballpark. Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's some I wouldn't go see again, but
the Cleveland ballpark I've been lucky enough to see.
You've seen that, okay?
And been able to get into that.
It's a nice ballpark.
It's a nice ballpark.
Yep.
But nothing will replace the mistake by the lake. Right?
No, that was one of a kind. So tough week for the Tigers this week. The trade they couldn't make, the trade they did make. Obviously, now the big question is people getting healthy. Will the pitchers who are getting healthy start to help this team move forward?
Well, they have been, right? I mean, we've seen it, right?
A little bit. We've
seen it.
A little bit up and down. Sure. Both in Tarek Skubal and Matt Manning. But yeah, we've seen glimpses. Of course, Spencer Turnbull is out in West Michigan getting healthy, so he could be another boost. So the Tigers are. I mean, let's face it. I gave it up a week ago. I said the Tigers are not going to contend, and they did nothing but prove that to me this week. But they can make progress. They can start lining up the guys who'll be part of this team.
Well, the core for the next 5 to 10 to 12 years.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, now that's what's got to happen.
You got to see it.
And so we'll talk about Scott Harris as the show goes on and what his role in all this was. And of course, we'll certainly talk about the former Tigers who now are back in new and old surroundings.
And I must say, we got a very special guest coming up in the next segment.
Well, yeah,
we can talk about that here in a second. But I did my homework, Jim.
Oh,
if you remember from last week.
I got it right here. I wanted to know.
You told me that I had to come up with being from New England and a diehard Boston Red Sox fan.
Yep.
I had to come up with the all-time New York Yankees lineup. Yep. Correct?
Well, I wanted to hear your Boston one, but the price for doing that was to come up with the Yankees one. Yep.
Yeah, and we did the Boston one last week, so I got the Yankees, and you also threw out the San Diego Padres because I mentioned Tony
that was
Gwynn.
Your team growing up. One of your teams.
Tony Gwynn was my favorite player growing up, believe it or not.
Right.
And so, by default, San Diego was my National League team. I felt it okay if I had an American League team and a National League team.
Right.
Right. So I have the all-time San Diego Padres lineup as well.
Well, why don't you hold on to that?
Yeah, stay tuned for that because we got a very special guest coming up.
And after the break, we're going to talk with Rick Green, who is the head baseball coach of Novi High School, the reigning state champ, Class A champion, Novi Trojans, I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, so we'll talk with Rick about not just his team a little bit, but also the state of high school baseball, and because he's been coaching a long time.
Hall of Famer. We're talking to here today.
He's been coaching baseball a long time, and he'll give us a good glimpse of what the state of high school baseball is here in the state of Michigan. So before we take our first break, though, Rob, please run down our social media information, how people can get involved, can get their messages to us, can make comments, and also if for whatever reason they want to watch us. I can't quit
We're everywhere, Jim. We're on Facebook Live. Go to Facebook on our Facebook page, Baseball This Week, and watch us live there. Also on our YouTube channel, right? On YouTube as well. And then all sorts of podcast platforms. Whatever podcast platform you have, whether it's Apple, Spotify, whatever one you have, Spreaker, you name it, we're on it. So we're on that as well, and that way you can listen to us and watch us at any time you desire. It's the beauty of internet radio, Jim. You know what I mean?
You can make a comment. You can make
and we've had a few comments of past
make a
shows.
Suggestion. Turn the camera off, please, kind of a thing.
That's right. And we have had comments, and if we have enough time at the end of the show, we'll go through those as well. So keep them coming.
They're not R-rated, I trust.
Well, something about Jim Stark not being on the show anymore, but
that's far enough. All right. Okay, let's take our first break. Here on a Wednesday afternoon. We're a little bit early today, but we're here bringing you
afternoon baseball, baby. We got you covered.
Baseball this week today, as the Tigers are winning in Pittsburgh, 5-2 now in the seventh. We'll come right back with more right here on this from the Spotlight Media Studios.
To everyone who enjoys a sweet treat, Culver's team member Brooke is crafting one for you, Wisconsin style.
When I serve you a creamy fresh frozen custard treat, it's that handcrafted kind of goodness, like our Simply Sweet cones or dishes, craveably thick shakes, and handcrafted concrete mixers. You know those, it's so good. Want a bite kind of treats?
Come to Culver's for a Wisconsin favorite made just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Time for a career change? Looking to make a difference? Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our dedicated team of school bus professionals. Dean Transportation has immediate openings and offers paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license. With increased starting pay, benefit packages, flexible scheduling with weekday hours, and more, Dean Transportation may be the career choice for you. No experience needed. Apply now and train all summer. Head to deanjobs.com.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal made just for you, let our team member Jacob share what's special about Culver's.
In Wisconsin, our food comes from the heart, and taking the time to handcraft your meal with care is how we've always done it at Culver's. It's why your Butterburger doesn't touch the grill until after you order.
Come to Culver's and let us serve you a Butterburger, made special just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
The first thing I remember is the game that I love.
Well, it's the game that most of us love here in the world, here in the baseball this week. Rob loves it. I love it. And we hopefully people listening to us love baseball. And
I know our next guest loves it.
I think he does. Well, or he's sick of it. I don't know which
no,
one.
I don't
which
think
one,
that,
but we'll find out.
Right.
And in full disclosure, Rob, I think I told you off the air. Mm-hmm. This next guest and I, who have a relationship away from the airwaves, right?
Yes.
His team beat our team when we played a couple weeks ago, and I really haven't gotten over that yet. I'm kind of sore, so I may like try to be kind of bitter with him.
I was going to say, Coach Green, was that just the cherry on top after a great season, a historic season for everything?
Beating my team?
Yeah, beating Jim Stark's team. That must have been the cherry on top, right?
I don't even remember beating them.
See?
No, I'm just kidding.
No. Rick, we welcome Rick Green, who's the head coach, baseball coach at Novi High School, and has been for how many years, Rob? Now I can get him on this. How many years?
Wow,
it's been. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Coach.
Okay, I thought he was asking me.
Well, no, I wanted Rob to make fun of you, that's all.
Oh, go ahead, Rob.
How many years, Rob?
It's got to be over a couple of decades, right?
Yeah, I would say it's over a couple decades. I started in '96 with Novi, coaching the freshman team for 3 years, and then the JV team for 1. So yeah, about 28 years altogether.
All right, so here's my first question: you've been coaching there for 25 years. You won the state championship. What took so long? No, I'm kidding, Coach. I'm kidding. You did a great job this year. It's funny though, Rob, because I would talk to him during the springtime. I'd have some business with him, and I said, Coach, how's the team doing? Well, we're not doing very good. And he was always downplaying it, right? And if you listen to him, the way you thought, they were ready to just quit the sport. And the next thing I know, they're in the state championship battle and end up winning it. So, Coach, it was a great run this year. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Jim. It was a great season. It's very memorable, some of the stuff that we went through this year. And yeah, you probably came in the store here at Service Sports. You probably came in when we just lost 2 games to Brighton that week. On Monday,
I remember
Wednesday,
that.
First week, so and that wasn't very good. We lost pretty bad to them. So yeah, it was pretty disappointing that week. But usually we get off the bad starts. Don't ask me why. It's been one of our downfalls. I don't think we're a cold weather team. I don't think there's too many guys in Michigan that are cold weather teams, but. We got off to that bad start, but we always seem to get better as the season goes along.
Well, before we talk to you more about the season, Coach, I did want to ask with you about the state of high school baseball. We talk a lot about baseball here on the show. We talk a lot about high school baseball. You hear a lot about the way the baseball in the city of Detroit, for example, is almost non-existent at the high school level and in the public schools anywhere. You've been coaching a long time. Are you happy with where high school baseball is right now?
I think so. I mean, look at the number of players that are coming out of the state of Michigan now and playing Division I baseball. And I'm sure there's a lot of Division II players going to play at other places down south, and we've got a lot of Division I players, that are Michigan high school players that are going to play Division I down south now. So it's I definitely think it's gotten better, and I think a lot of it has to do with all the indoor training facilities and other ways to improve your skills.
Well, it's really become a year-round sport, hasn't it? Because back in the day when we were playing high school sports, you could play a fall sport, a winter sport, and a spring sport pretty easily. Now it's really difficult because it's really every sport's year-round as far as training, aren't they? Yeah,
every sport is definitely has its own training philosophies and stuff, and we try to, if whatever sport our kids are playing, that's their sport. If they're playing basketball in the winter, then if you can train with us once a week, great. If not, we can totally understand. We had three sports stars on our team this year, so yeah, it's kind of tough to deal with. But you gotta understand the kids. I mean, the kids love all the sports they play, and it makes them a better athlete in the long run. So.
Coach, you've seen obviously a lot of things in baseball, and this is something I'm going to ask you that hasn't trickled down into high school baseball as of yet. It's starting to trickle down a little bit in college baseball, but that's the name, image, and likeness and the transfer portal and things of that nature. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that and just what that brings, because a lot of coaches, especially in the college realm, are having to start to deal with that now in baseball. And obviously it's been told as the Wild West. People have different scenarios or different thoughts on that. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that process and what you see of it in the future.
Are you talking about the college level or
just
transfer in high school?
Well, will it trickle down, do you think, into high school? And is that a good thing or a bad thing? What's just your thoughts overall on it?
Well, in high school, they kind of put a stop to the transfer. It's not as easy to transfer anymore from one school to another. There's a lot of open schools. There's a lot of private schools in Michigan. But you have to sit out a year now if you transfer, unless it's a long move.
Right.
There's a reasoning for it. But as far as the college transfer portal, that's got to be really tough on those coaches, I'm sure. And the universities and stuff, I don't even know how to answer that, to be honest with you. I know it's got to be very frustrating to have those kids come there and then they're there 1 year, then they're gone the next. And I know that's got to be a very frustrating thing for these programs.
Well, we had Jake Boss on a few weeks ago, Coach, the head coach from Michigan State, and we talked a little bit about that. And Coach Boss, he seems to be pretty upbeat, Rob, if I remember right, about the state of college, certainly the state of college baseball here at Michigan State, but he seems to be pretty upbeat in general. Did you kind of get that same sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's there. They got to deal with it, and they have to navigate through it. And, I mean, everybody's in the same playing field as far as trying to navigate through it. I just like to get the thoughts of a high school coach and get whether you think it's good for the sport or not, or you just haven't really thought about that, and you're thankful that you really don't have to deal with it in that aspect being a high school coach.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's good for the sport. I mean, it's got to be frustrating for some of the coaches that lose players, but then again, they can go out and get players that that want to come to your school as well. I guess it's kind of just it's kind of like recruiting a high school player.
Yeah. If we wanted to get somebody who's a little bit vocal on it, we could probably find someone in a different sport. Couldn't we, Rob? Couldn't we get Coach Izzo on? He probably has a few things to say about it.
You have a few things to say.
Yeah, he does. But looking more at baseball in general, Coach, we're talking with Rick Green, the head coach at Novi High School, the reigning state champ Novi High School head coach. Baseball was taking a beating back in the in the 90s, 80s, 90s. It kind of football surpassed it in terms of popularity. The NFL certainly surpassed Major League Baseball. It seemed like it was falling out of favor with a lot of people, especially young people. Now, to me, it seems to have sort of enjoyed a resurgence. Certainly this year in the Major League level with the pitch clock, it has become much more popular because the games don't run on and on and on. Have you seen that kind of an uptick in terms of overall interest in baseball?
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of that. Baseball just seems like it's, the salaries that are out there and the Major League players and stuff, that's kind of gone out of hand as we saw the last couple of years here. But I definitely see, just going by from what I see here at Service Sports, I mean, there's like 60 fall teams in the Canton area that are playing baseball. I mean, it's incredible. I know, in Novi, their demographics have changed a little bit, and baseball's not as big as it is in some of the cities like Livonia here and Canton. And but I can see these numbers growing in these other cities, and it's just a great sport. How can baseball not be at the top of somebody's wanting to play sport?
Well, in this day of AE sports, Coach, and kids who never get out of the basement, all they do is sit and play with the thumb thing. What do they call the control pad, Rob? Whatever that is,
right?
To have somebody want to get out and actually do that, first off, that's great. And the other, I grew up, Coach, and I'm sure you probably have a story like this too. We played ball at the end of the street in the park. We'd play baseball from morning to night. We'd make up games. We'd play games. We have enough guys. If you don't have enough guys, you'd make up your competition games. And there was nothing organized about it. I remember not long ago, I heard someone say that most kids only play baseball now if it's organized, if it's some organized, and that to me is a real change and a shift. Would you agree? Have you seen that kind of shift where it's much more less sandlot play and much more organized now?
Yeah, I definitely see that for sure. Yeah, you see so many. We were just talking about that today. I was talking to John Laura. What's his last name? John Laura from the TCU was calling about one of my players, and we were talking about, in 2009, you played for a team like the Novi Heat or the Lakes Area Dodgers or, some of these great programs. And now there's like, you can't even think of all the teams they have. There's just so many teams out there. So I think the travel sport's gotten watered down, and some of the youth baseball programs have really diminished.
Right.
Like in Novi and stuff. And the kids don't play in the parks. You don't go by a baseball park and see kids playing 3-on-3 baseball like we used to do back in the day.
Right. That was what we did. Now, and there's another thing that's come up when we get questions about injuries, pitchers' injuries, right? You hear, we didn't even know what Tommy John surgery was until 20 years ago, and now it seems like these pitchers, a lot of them have it twice. They are on pitch counts. Would you attribute any of that that to the fact that the guys today just don't throw as much as we did when we were 10 and 11 years old?
I think they're throwing more. I think I think some of them are overtraining, and then they're using all these plyo balls and stuff, and there's the showcases seem to go on longer through the recruiting process now. For kids to be recruited, so they go to all these showcases and to show their skills, and they're doing it for a long time. So they're throwing, they're going to these things in October, November. Then the spring comes around, you're playing for your high school team, and then you're playing for your summer teams, and you're doing more showcases. It's just, I think they're overthrowing.
So they're overthrowing. Now, that's a great point. And I'm sure the pitchers are throwing pitchers younger than they ever threw when we were coming up, right? I remember when I was in Little League with Royal Oak, growing up in Royal Oak, you couldn't throw curveball. They wouldn't let you throw curveball until I think you were 12 or something. And now I'm sure these young kids are experimenting with everything because that gets you quicker somewhere else, right?
Yeah, I think they're trying to throw a lot of different off-speed pitches now, a lot earlier than 12 years old now.
Yep.
In some areas, yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you, I even heard a story one day, Coach, not long ago, where there was a doctor. It was a doctor who performs Tommy John surgery. He said he's had people come in, parents come in, and say, I understand if you have this Tommy John surgery, you can add 4 or 5 miles to your fastball. Can my kid get it? and Rick, true story. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what they don't get is it's not the surgery that improves this. It's they work their behinds off to come back from this. That's what adds the miles per hour to the fastball. But you don't want to have that surgery because it's major surgery.
Yeah, in fact, I just had one of our pitchers, our junior, Brendan Bennett, just had Tommy John surgery. But yeah, you're right about that. I think the guys that have that surgery that come back are working extremely hard to get back to where they were.
Yep.
And you're right. And they've also gotten older, so they've gotten a little bit stronger and a little bit wiser, and that's how they come back throwing harder. I don't think it has anything to do with the surgery.
Right.
I think it's just the discipline of the hard work, and the guys that don't come back are the guys that don't work as hard and don't do the things to rehab that they need to do.
Well, and you hit, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, these guys, at your level, even high school level, certainly in college level, there's a lot of guys that throw the ball 90 miles an hour. But there aren't that many that move on to the pros, and there certainly aren't many of those guys that go on to the top level. It's not because of the 80 or 90 miles an hour. It's because of the hard work. They're the ones that do the extra it takes. And I'm sure you see that at the high school level. The kids that work the hardest typically get the furthest. Is that still true?
That's true, but a lot of it has to do with the God-given ability,
Yeah.
And like I was talking about Brendan Bennett. I mean, he's just got God-given ability, I think, and yes, with the work ethic that he has, it's definitely makes him a better pitcher for sure.
Well, I was in the short line or the wrong line for that line, Coach. I didn't get the much God-given ability, that's for sure. Go ahead, Rob.
Coach.
No, I've seen you play, Jim. You're a pretty good ball player.
You know what, though? I'm enjoying the heck out of it. That's for sure. Boy. Hey, that was unsolicited, Rob.
I was
unsolicited.
Say, how much does he owe you for that one, Coach? Huh? The check's in the mail with Jim Stark for Coach on that one. But, Coach, I wanted to get back to you here for a second and just obviously the love of the game for you. And this year specifically, obviously the championship, you got your 500 wins. What keeps you going through all these years in baseball, especially as a head coach? Is it seeing the growth of your young players throughout the years? What keeps you really motivated? Multiple championships, 500 wins now. What's the secret?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. I love to watch the growth of the kids, from when they come in as a freshman and they leave as a senior. That's got a lot to do with it. Just watching the improvement and watching how hard these guys. We worked so hard this year in the off season. Not that we haven't worked hard in the other seasons, but again, having that little extra talent and the hard work together, it goes a long way. But yeah, I love kids. I love the competition still, and I love to watch the kids succeed the most. I think watching those guys do that dog pile in the middle of Michigan State baseball field was pretty impressive. And I get teared up and chills just thinking about it.
Well, Coach, you've coached a long time, and I teased you earlier about it taking a long time. Did you ever, was that ever a goal of yours to win a state championship as a coach?
Oh, for sure. Again, I love to watch the kids succeed, and one of my biggest thrills is watching a kid hit his first high school home run, or a kid get his first high school hit, or a kid get his first high school win on the mound. That's what keeps me going. And those are the things that I love about baseball most. And you watch a baseball game and you see something happen and you go, wow, I've never seen that happen before. We've seen it in our league, right, Jim?
I was just going to say, as long as we've been around baseball, I still see stuff that happened at our level that I've never seen before.
Yeah, and then you ask yourself, gosh, did I ever see that before? And you say, no, we've never seen that before, So,
well, and Rob,
the love of the game is what keeps me going. I think, Rob, I love this since I was a kid. Since my grandfather took me to free bat day when I was 7 years old, and I got Norm Cash's bat, and my brother got Al Kaline's bat at Tiger Stadium.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, Rob, what Coach is saying right now about the love of the game. If you do come see our group play, which is the senior league, that's what you see. Guys, they can't run as fast. Sure. They can't hit as far. They can't, throw as hard anymore. But they all love and that to me is what keeps me going to play because of what you just said, Coach.
I got a couple stats I want to throw out to you here, Jim, with Coach's team this year. 33-8 state championship. We've been over that. But runs for 251. Runs against 92.
Wow.
Coach, I'm going to ask you, and it's obviously a total team effort, right? But is there a part of the game, the offense or the pitching, that really surprised you, that went maybe above and beyond that you thought this year when I threw out those stats?
Well, I knew we had the pitchers.
Yeah.
I knew our pitching staff was loaded. And there are some guys that didn't even get to pitch much in the playoffs that pitched really well on the weekends for us. Against teams that weren't in our league. So we were deeper than four. We were 5 or 6 solid starting pitchers on our team, and I just you feel bad for the guys and they get the chance against the division teams, but our pitching was our key to success, and I knew that we had it, and knew that gave us the opportunity to win the state championship. But our hitting really surprised me the way. I mean, we had good athletes, and I knew we could hit better. And there's times where I was wondering if our hitting was going to, if we were going to lose that game 1-0 again this year, like we lost last year at Catholic Central in the district final. But it seems like our hitting, our focus at the plate was sensational throughout the playoffs. Guys like Andrew Cummer, Johnny Aurelia, and then of course Brendan Bennett. We had some big hits, and Chapsky getting that big hit against Madawan, to tie up the game in the 7th inning with 2 outs and 2 strikes. I mean, the focus was just incredible for us, and I think that's what led us, and the pitching, of course, led us to the state championship.
Well, Coach, we'll let you go. We'll have you on again, though, because this has been a great discussion, and I knew you'd be a font of information. As old as you are, Coach, and you're like, what, 87 now? No, I'm kidding. No, hey, I'll tell you, Rob.
49.
No, Rick Green plays a nice game of baseball. Honestly,
I was saying, I'd take Coach over running you out on first to second over you, Jim Stark, any day.
But to still have that love of the game, Coach, is to me that's what I love to hear. That because the kid, the kids feed off of that. They can tell when their coach. They know when coaches are mailing it in, and they know when coaches are sincere about them being a part of their improvements. So congratulations again on the win, Rick Green. Thanks for joining. We'll get you on again, but it was a great season, and so far you're having a good season in this here in our league. So hopefully you'll go on and win one more championship yet this year.
I hope so, and then I hope we go out to Arizona and win another one out there.
There we go. All right, listen.
Well, thanks for having me, Jim and Rob. I really appreciate it.
We'll have you on again, and I'm sure I'll see you sometime soon on the field. And this time we're going to win the game, by hook or by crook. All right.
All right. Yeah, I like some of your pictures, Jim. You got a chance with some of those pictures you got.
I need some help with that. As you and I talked, I need some help with that. But I got some arms, but I got to turn arms into pictures, and that's a bit of a challenge. So, but I'll get a wizened guru like you to help me out. That's for sure.
All right.
Okay,
all right.
Rick Green, thanks for joining us. All right, that's head coach of the Novi High School. Good guy. He's a good guy, and I knew he'd be fun to have. It was so funny.
Legend.
He was so nervous when I was talking to him. He goes, Jim, what are you? I said, Coach, don't worry, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
don't worry.
And I love the fact that you guys still play. Like,
it's great.
You're still able to play. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you, some guys
Outstanding.
Some guys play better than others, but there is a love of the game.
That's all you need, baby.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got lots of trade talk yet. Trading deadline. We got our 3 up, 3 down. A little bit on the down in the farm report, and of course the Tigers are now up 6-2. Do I have that right, Rob?
You do.
6-2 in the 7th inning, I think it is, and all that and more here on Baseball This Week, right here from the Spotlight Media Studios.
To everyone who enjoys a sweet treat, Culver's team member Brooke is crafting one for you, Wisconsin style.
When I serve you a creamy fresh frozen custard treat, it's that handcrafted kind of goodness, like our Simply Sweet cones or dishes, craveably thick shakes, and handcrafted concrete mixers. You know those, it's so good. Want a bite kind of treats?
Come to Culver's for a Wisconsin favorite made just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Time for a career change? Looking to make a difference? Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our dedicated team of school bus professionals. Dean Transportation has immediate openings and offers paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license. With increased starting pay, benefit packages, flexible scheduling with weekday hours, and more, Dean Transportation may be the career choice for you. No experience needed. Apply now and train all summer. Head to deanjobs.com.
To everyone who enjoys a sweet treat, Culver's team member Brooke is crafting one for you, Wisconsin style.
When I serve you a creamy fresh frozen custard treat, it's that handcrafted kind of goodness, like our Simply Sweet cones or dishes, craveably thick shakes, and handcrafted concrete mixers. You know those, it's so good. Want a bite kind of treats?
Come to Culver's for a Wisconsin favorite made just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Time for a career change? Looking to make a difference? Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our dedicated team of school bus professionals. Dean Transportation has immediate openings and offers paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license. With increased starting pay, benefit packages, flexible scheduling with weekday hours, and more, Dean Transportation may be the career choice for you. No experience needed. Apply now and train all summer. Head to deanjobs.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Baseball This Week. I'm Jim Stark along with Boston Rob Bennett. We're here on a Wednesday afternoon, a baseball afternoon, as the Tigers now hold a 6-2 lead in the bottom of the 8th inning out in Pittsburgh. It looks like Jason Foley is on the mound right now, and he's become that setup man, that eighth inning guy, leading into Alex Lang usually in the 9th inning. And Jason Foley has really become one of the success stories of the season this year. Was that what they say when Jason Foley's pitching?
Yeah, we want him to swing and miss, right? But he most certainly has been one of the bright spots, that whole relief pitching core.
Yes.
We've talked about it, multiple times on this show and other shows, that the relief pitching really, the pitching in general has really kept the Tigers, where they are.
Yes.
Which I still think is above people's expectations when you look at coming into the season. So
above mine, I know that.
Above a lot of people's when you look at it.
Even to the point where, as you and I talked about, I was smoking my hopium pipe for a while there, but hey. I did put it away.
Good. Smoking's bad for you.
But it's progress. It's progress. So
yeah, It's definitely an up. It feels like, they've had losses, obviously, but to me, with this young core, you can kind of now see the future, right? It's not as murky as maybe it was 3-4 years ago, where, you see the young talent and they're getting healthy and you see glimpses, and it's all about putting it together and maybe getting 1 or 2 or 3 more, key pieces to that puzzle for next season and beyond for, a long-lasting success, just not 1 or 2 years. You want to build for
a
5
system.
Build 5 to 10 years, and of course, and I don't know if you would say they're ahead of schedule.
Well,
I don't know if you'd go that far.
I will say this though.
Yeah.
I think Scott Harris's fingerprints are starting to show up.
Sure, we saw it here in the trade deadline.
Let's talk about that trade deadline.
Yep.
Tigers only made one move. Michael Lorenzen, the all-star from a couple weeks ago, is going to Philadelphia as both a reliever and a starter. And the young man, they got the prospect for him is a player that was, I think he was out of Korea, right?
Yu Lee, yes.
Yeah, say it again?
Yu Lee.
Okay. And when I was on with Jack Ebling yesterday, we had differing information about where he was rated in the.
Yeah.
Well, I figured out what happened. One, Baseball America had him 8.
Yep.
And some other service had him 5.
Yeah.
So we both.
I looked at the 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he's obviously a top 10 prospect in the system.
Yep. And
for sure.
5'10", 190 pounds.
Yep.
They think he has a lot of upside, a lot of potential.
Swing
He's
is
young.
nice.
He's only 20.
Yep. Swing is nice and compact.
Yep.
Speed. I don't know if you'd call him a 5-tool player, but definitely a guy that
he runs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I think he has
potential. The P word, Jim. The P word.
Well, but he's got the tools, and he controls the strike zone. That's
his walk and strikeout ratio we talked about. Yesterday.
Yep.
Is quite, and that's a Scott Harris guy.
That's a Scott Harris guy,
right?
Exactly,
and that's what he's looking for. Obviously, he had other options maybe to go somewhere else, but he wanted to get his prospect, the guy that he thinks that he can build with in the future. And here's another guy that's going to get thrown into the minors when you name some of these names that you've been naming when we do this segment here.
We're going to watch.
He's going to be one of them.
We're going to watch what this young man does. I think he's going to start in West Michigan over in Grand Rapids. So now the big deal that wasn't made, of course, was we talked about earlier, Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yeah.
A deal was set with the Dodgers because of Rodriguez's contract. He had 10 teams that is no trade clause. The Dodgers are one of them, and he vetoed the deal. But Scott Harris went on public yesterday and said, "Do not blame him.
No,
it was his right."
Absolutely.
And you know what? And I think
I applaud him.
Well, I
do.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to say this about Scott Harris.
Yes,
though.
I applaud.
I give Harris credit because he didn't go to the next best deal. He wanted the only deal he saw that was worthwhile was this Dodger deal,
right?
And he couldn't do it, so he pulled it back.
He didn't panic.
He said, "You know what? We're going to have this guy pitching every 5th day for the rest of the season." That's a good. So I was waiting to see if he would be true to his word. Is he going to only trade for value? And he did. So I think one of two things are going to happen. One, the Tigers, he'll I think he will absolutely take his buyout and go.
Yeah.
But the Tigers may try to sign him.
Sure.
Because if he
restructure his deal
and say, you know what, we want you part of our future. So.
Well, a couple things came into mind, and obviously wanting to stay closer to the East Coast. I mean, that has been said for his family. He didn't want to travel out west. He wanted to, move his family out there. Sure, I get that. Applaud him for that. I mean, not a lot of athletes will go out there and say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And the Dodgers were willing to. They offered to up the ante.
Yeah,
and he said no.
Some former teammates that are on the Dodgers, apparently at the last ditch effort to try to change his mind, really tried to reach out to him. He said, "No, this is what I'm doing,"
wow.
and I applaud Mr. Rodriguez for doing that.
Last year he was gone for a good part of the year on family issues.
Right,
he put his family issues, whatever they were, ahead of his baseball career,
and that's what it should be. I agree with that, and I applaud him. There's some people out there that are giving him a lot of BS about it. Well, but I don't. I think I applaud, and he's come out here today, despite all that, and pitched one hell of a game.
Yeah, he's
right
in line for the win.
And look he has a chance to opt out and go for another huge contract, whether the Tigers try to restructure it and re-sign him, whatnot, or if it's with another team.
Yeah, I did.
He has earned that right.
He did one thing he said. He said the only team he will not sign with is Boston. He did say that. Did you hear that?
Sure, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
so
sure.
the other big news for the trade deadline, 2 former Tigers, actually more than just 2, but the 2 big names, both Justin Verlander and the big power pitcher Max Scherzer went to new teams. And
they could face each other in the playoffs.
They're in the same state, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Verlander goes back to Houston. Mm-hmm. Scherzer goes to Texas.
And I think Texas is the winner of the entire. If you look at
the trading derby.
Yeah, the trading derby. I was talking with Jack Ebling when we went to Moneyball last night. And I said I think Texas really is the winner maybe. Not maybe. I'm going to go out there and say Texas with Scherzer, as long as he stays healthy, and a couple other moves, a couple of pitchers from the White Sox, players from the White Sox.
Yeah, the White Sox. The White Sox were one of the big sellers, as were the Cardinals.
But I think I don't know if you agree with me or not, Jim, but I think Texas is a big winner when you look at the trade deadline.
I think Houston made a coup getting Verlander. I don't think people saw that coming. Scherzer was pretty much a because Scherzer had
to Texas though. You didn't see that coming.
No, wait. Scherzer to Texas?
Yeah, you didn't see that coming,
no,
did you?
But I knew he was going though because of the words he had with the GM.
But, sure.
But I think Houston
once
getting
Scherzer went, I mean Verlander. I mean it's obvious they're selling. You know what I mean? And
but Houston getting Verlander, I would have thought Verlander would go to New York. To one of to L.A.
or maybe San Diego was
or
in there.
San Francisco.
San Diego was in there.
Yeah. So. But hey, both, and like you said,
who do you give the advantage now? Looking at both teams, Texas or Houston?
Texas. I think Texas has a healthier team. They've got, I think, a little bit better offense. When Houston gets everybody back, when they get Altuve and Alvarez back, maybe it's more equal. But right now, it's Texas. And
watch out for the Angels.
Well, and both of the Angels. Put all their chips back in the pot. But I love the fact that both Verlander and Scherzer are in the same division, the same fight. I
mean, we could see a playoff series with those two going at it head to head, and how fun would that be? As long as they're healthy.
One more thing on the trade that before we move on, Rob, I thought it was interesting. The last few Tiger trades at the deadline actually have revealed or have produced more than I thought. Okay. In 2021, they traded Daniel Norris to the Milwaukee Brewers for Reese Olson, who has been a productive pitcher this year.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Then they traded Cameron Maybin in 2020 for Zach Short, who has been a productive backup.
Right.
Okay? And this one I forgot about. When they traded Nick Castellanos in 2019 to the Cubs, one of the pitchers they got, Alex Lang.
Wow.
So that makes that trade.
I'm used to you bashing the former management about the quality of get back as far as trade goes. Look at this.
And then
it's a whole new day.
And let's not wait a minute. It's not. Let's not relive the Verlander thing. Think it was a good deal, but
there have been some. You just mentioned it. There have been some good moves.
Some good moves. Well, no. I didn't say that. I said some return on some of the moves.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't say it's good
Fair
moves.
enough.
But Shane Green, they traded him to the Braves, and they got Joey Wentz. So some of these guys are producing somewhat. So okay. Well, we got to move along. Our hour's rapidly rolling along. But before we go any further, let's go to our our 3 up, 3 down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm anxious to see this.
So I'll start with the 3 down. One you're not going to like, I'm pretty sure right now. But top of my 3 down list for the second consecutive week, which is unusual, Eric Haas. He keeps dropping like a stone. His average is now
he's struggling.
There's
no
200.
Yeah, it's one
under the Mendoza line.
Yeah,
195.
195 now.
Yep. And and I love him. He's the one Tiger that has a local home. He came from
sure. He's got a great story.
Yep. So hopefully he'll be able to recover. Next on my list, Joey Wentz, who has struggled this year. He's had a couple good outings, but his ERA is up to 6.37. But he's a left-hander, right? Left-handers always get more chances. I'm not writing him off. I'm just saying right now he's on the downward trend.
And Eric Haas, going back to him real quick, 0 for 3 today.
Yeah,
so
he's struggling. Now, this third one you may get on me again. You're going to accuse me of being a little bit too quick to the whip, but Matt Manning, whose ERA is now up over almost 5, he's had one good, two bad, one good, two bad. He's got to develop consistency.
Yeah, I agree. The consistency's got to be there, but I'm not. I wouldn't. We'll see. Let's go back to the positive.
Here's the thing. I was kind of struggling to find the downs. That's probably a good thing in and of itself, right?
Oh, wow.
They aren't
usually you got no problem doing that.
It's editing it down. It's
Trust
a problem.
me.
Okay, on the up. First on my list, Scott Harris.
Look at you.
I thought he handled the trade deadline the way I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
He made one trade, and by all measurements right now, it was a good trade. He didn't make a trade that wasn't there for him, and he said he wouldn't, and he didn't. So
look at the teams. The Yankees, who didn't make a trade until the last possible minute yesterday. The Red Sox, not really in the trade market, right? These teams are, these big market teams. The Cubs didn't really make a, you know what I mean?
They made more than anybody else.
Yeah,
the big market teams.
But the big market teams and the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But these teams that you're used to seeing making big splashes, really didn't.
Well, and
really
again, I'm going to give Scott Harris a little bit of a kudo there.
I agree.
Okay,
I agree with you.
Next on my list, I got to go with Eduardo Rodriguez.
Sure. For multiple reasons.
But pitching great today, but he's just staying. And who knows what might happen now, right? Maybe he likes Detroit. Maybe they can re-sign him. Okay?
Yep.
And third on the list, Riley Green.
Home run today?
Yep. And in the last 30 days, he's hitting 343. Oh, no, the month of July, he hit 343. The only thing that made me a little bit of a concern is he only had 3 home runs and 6 RBIs. Now, he hits high up in the lineup, and I get that, but I would have expected to see a few more RBIs.
He's hitting.
But his OPS is 943.
Exactly.
Yep.
And his home runs will come. He's hitting the ball well.
Not the home runs. It's the RBIs I was surprised at the level. I would have thought he'd have more than 6 for the month. But no, he's definitely hitting 343. That's where you want to be.
That's where you want to be.
Okay, so that's my 3 up for this week. Scott Harris, Riley Green, Eduardo Rodriguez.
All right.
Not much on the farm report this week, Rob.
Right?
Yeah, it's not much going on.
Okay,
right?
good. Well, no news sometimes is good news. No injuries to report.
Yep, and what we're going to do, Rob, with that report is when September comes closer, are we going to see some of those top Colt Keith-type players come up for a cup of coffee? That's what we want to see. And if
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Okay.
All right.
So give me our look at the weekend.
Well, before
Rob.
I do that, before I do that, you've been waiting for it.
I want to hear the San Diego all-time team.
What do you want to hear first?
Give me the San Diego. You like that one more?
San Diego. All right, we're gonna leave that New York team to last.
Yep.
Okay.
Because that'll be the most painful for you.
I appreciate that. All right. For the San Diego Padres, in case you are wondering why we're going here, last week Jim had a all-time teams list for each team, every team, and San Diego Padres was on my list to do. So at catcher, Benito Santiago played for the Padres from 86 to 92. Right.
They've not had a lot of great catchers.
No.
Yep.
No. First base, Adrian Gonzalez, 2007 to 2010.
The only catcher I would throw out there with you is Terry Kennedy. Would be the only one I would throw out there.
I was going back and forth with him.
He was a pretty good catcher, but not very long, only 5 years.
Only 5 years. First base, again, Adrian Gonzalez, played for the Padres from 2007 to 2010. You good with that?
Oh, yeah. I loved him. I love great player.
How about second base, Roberto Alomar?
One of the all-time greats.
88 to 90. Only a couple years, but San Diego Padre nonetheless.
What a great player.
Shortstop, Ozzie Smith. That's right. played for the San Diego Padres from 1978 to 1981.
Maybe the all-time best defensive shortstop.
Yes.
It's certainly one of the top 3.
Yes. Third base, Ken Caminiti from 95 to 98.
Again, you forget he was there, right?
MVP type season in between 95 and 98.
He had his big years with was Houston, right?
Houston.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. All right. Left field, Dave Winfield.
One of my all-time favorites.
73 to 80.
Drafted by 6 sports. Did you know
really?
that?
I did not know
6
that.
sports.
Okay.
Basketball, football, baseball.
Track?
Soccer.
Wow.
There were 6. 6 sports.
Wow.
And some were kind of gimmicky.
I was saying the only thing left was hockey. I know he didn't play hockey.
But some were kind of gimmicky. But yeah, 6 sports.
All right.
Sports.
All right. Dave Winfield, right? Okay. Center field, Steve Finley. From 95 to 98. It was tough trying to find a center fielder.
Little thin
there.
field.
Little thin.
And we'll skip over right field because there's no one good. Nobody good there.
No one good there. Some guy named Tony Gwynn. You know. My favorite player of all time. I'll put him up there, and I know you've had this debate with other people, but I'd definitely put him up there. You could argue one of the best hitters of all time.
I would say one of the best pure hitters, leaving power out of it. If you're looking at just
hitting,
just
hand-eye coordination,
exactly.
Hand-eye coordination.
Ichiro, the list is pretty small.
Yep. And DH, I was going back and forth a little bit, but what about Ryan Klesko?
He had a couple good years.
2000 from 2000 to 2006.
Yep. Yeah. There's other guys I think you'll probably find. First, didn't McGriff play for?
No, I don't think. Towards the end of his career.
Oh, the end. Okay. All right. Okay.
But and then you could put in a Fernando Tatis. You could put him in there, but like I said last week, I'm not trying to put players that are still playing and developing.
I agree with that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
I like it.
Starting pitching, right? My starting pitcher, some choices here. Jake Peavy from 2002 to 2009.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Relief pitcher, Goose Gossage. A lot of Tigers fans know about him, 1984 to 1987.
He don't want to pitch to you. That's a spark he was telling Kirk Gibson. He don't want to pitch to you.
Oh. And then the closing pitcher, who else but Trevor Hoffman?
One of the greats.
93 to 2008.
Yep.
One of the best of all time. But now, here you go, Jim.
Hold your nose and go through it, Rob.
All right. For those who are interested, for those who are interested, and I know there's not many, New York Yankees all-time lineup, obviously.
And this is not as easy as what you might think.
No, it really wasn't.
Nope, it is not.
I had to look.
Yep.
I strained my eyes.
Some great choices.
Catcher, Yogi Berra.
And that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because there's some Thurman Munson and Bill Dick. I mean, there's some good catchers.
And even Jose Posada you could even throw out there.
Elson Howard, a former MVP. Yeah, Posada.
Yep. Lou Gehrig, first base.
Move on. That's an easy one.
Second base, Willie Randolph.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, I went with Willie Randolph there. A couple of choices there.
He was a good second baseman, too.
Yes. Shortstop.
Wasn't flashy.
No, but got the job done.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Shortstop, Derek Jeter. Had to go with him.
I think Phil Rizzuto is one of the most overrated baseball players ever. Yeah, he was a good short, but he wasn't a great shortstop. He was a Yankee shortstop.
In recent times, especially when Jeter was playing, they called him Mr. Yankee, the best Yankee of all time. Oh. I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
No, but he was the best shortstop.
Okay, third base. It pains me.
Oh,
Alex Rodriguez. We'll throw him in there. Yeah. And not because he didn't go to the Red Sox. I was very thankful he didn't go to the Red Sox.
It's funny because with all the great players the Yankees have had,
not a lot of third base.
Third base
right?
might be the weakest position.
Yeah. Center field. Who else? Or left field. We'll start with left field.
Now, the outfield's where it gets tough.
Left field, Joe DiMaggio. Had to go with Joe DiMaggio on left.
Yep.
Center, Mickey Mantle. Right?
Yep.
I go with him. Right field, Babe Ruth. Right?
Three of the all-time best, period. Not
Yankees. Just baseball players.
Right.
DH, I'm going with Mr. October. Reggie Jackson,
who else?
Baby. Yeah.
Right.
Starting pitcher, which you could, go up and down the line.
Yeah, this is not easy.
I'm going to see if you agree with this.
Yep.
Whitey Ford.
Yeah, I would go with Guidry, but Whitey Ford, I go either one.
Okay. And then my closing pitcher, who else? Mariano Rivera. Right?
The best of all time.
Yes. There's only from my lifetime. There's only 2 New York Yankees that I can ultimately respect. 2 in my lifetime.
Jeter and him?
No, not a big Jeter fan.
Okay.
Not a Jeter fan. And I know he's from here in Michigan and yada yada yada. But not a Jeter fan for multiple reasons. We'll get that into another time.
Okay.
However, Mariano Rivera, excuse me. I mean, class act, right? And then Bernie Williams.
Oh, I like Bernie Williams.
Loved watching Bernie Williams
fielder,
play.
Yeah,
class act.
He's in that next level of outfielder.
Yeah.
Along with the right fielder who had all the home. Oh, shoot, who am I thinking of for the Yankees?
Recently?
Yeah, well, more recent in their glory, the more recent glory years. Played right field, had a lot of. Was a big hitter. It's in the next tier. Shoot. Let me see.
Yeah.
I'll come up with it.
All right.
But good. You
list. Like it?
Again, and I had a hard.
I don't know if there was a.
I had a hard time ever agreeing that Derek Jeter is one of the top 5 Yankees of all time. I'm there now.
Yeah,
I'm there.
I can't.
His playoff numbers are incredible.
Yeah,
he got better when the years went on.
When they tell me when they want to argue he's the best Yankee of all time,
no,
I
didn't say that.
No,
one
I
of the top 5 though.
Top 5?
Yep, I would argue that. Yep,
I'd go top 10.
No, for sure. But I
don't know top 5. I'd have him at like
top
7 or 6.
Would be a good argument. How's that?
Yeah, it would be a good argument.
Yep.
Because I'd have him at 7 or 6. To be honest with you,
I got you.
You know what I mean?
All right. Look ahead for the week to come with the Tigers, Rob.
All right, let's make sure I get this right here. I was too stoked to give you my list. I come ill-prepared.
Oh, that's all right.
You know what I mean? Let's see. We got, obviously, the Tigers. The Tiger. Paul O'Neill.
That was the guy I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
I liked him as an outfielder, too.
Okay, I'll give it.
Yep.
All right, fine. All right, Pirates finishing up that, hopefully with a win right now, up 6-2, because then the 3-game series with the Rays, formerly known as the Devil Rays. Tampa Bay coming in for 3 games.
They're still close to first place. I think that Baltimore's in for, but very good
tight
team.
Race. Yep. And then big series. They're all big at this point, right?
Yeah.
But could make a real statement for this team into the future. I'm not saying for a playoff spot or anything like that, but anytime you can really stick it to the Twins if you're the Tigers. A divisional foe, you want to do that.
You got to beat them. You got to beat the Twins. You got to beat the Kansas City. You got to beat Cleveland. That's how you're going to gain traction. And let's see, they're home for Tampa and Minnesota, right?
Yeah, that's right. And then they go. Then after that, they head to the motherland.
We can stop right there.
We head to the motherland.
We'll save that for next.
Good old Fenway. We'll save it next week. Yes,
so,
indeed.
So what's a good week this week? You got the game today, and then you got 3 against Tampa and 3 against Minnesota. What do you think?
Oh boy, if they can split, I mean, 3 and 3 here.
Yeah.
If they can go 3 and 3, that's a great week. Right?
So you think if they go 4 and 3, including today, that's
well, yeah. See, even 3 and 4.
I want to go. 4 and 2. That's what I want to see.
That's what you want to see. What are they gonna do?
I expect to see.
What are they gonna do?
I'll be disappointed they don't get 4 and 2. How's that?
All right, fair enough.
All right. Well, Rob, busy show today. Thanks for being here today and making everything work.
Outstanding.
We want to thank Rick Green, our guest today, the head coach from Novi High School. That was fun, and we'll be back next week with more baseball talk here on Baseball This Week, heard on the Spotlight Media Studio Network.